over the book that's called. Alright guys, real quick, in a few minutes we're going to be going over the Facebook group marketing for real estate agents and loan originators. Got this book on Amazon. It's about 120 pages, 110 pages of actual content, and the last 10 pages are a bunch of thank you notes. Read it cover to cover last night, and I highlighted a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to be kind of going over those highlights, and that will essentially kind of sum up the book in 5 to 10 minutes for you. Yeah, and that's about it. The book's, once you go through the whole thing, there's basically a few 5 to 6 main concepts that you really want to know, and the rest is kind of just anecdotal. The first 50-60 pages is, this is our story, this is to motivate you to actually use this system, and then there's about 4 or 5 pages where it tells you, hey, step by step, do this. And if they were to only give you those 2 or 3 to 4 pages, you would essentially be able to arrive at the same results, but you know, the argument on the other side would be you didn't have the motivation to actually do it because they didn't tell, 60 pages of a story or whatever. To each their own. I don't really care. Anyways, first thing that they started talking about is how his wife showed him that, after joining groups, you could use text replacement. For that, on your iPhone, it's built in. You could go into your settings and just look up on YouTube or Google how to do text replacement, and you're going to be able to put something. This is what they did: ZZ, real estate, ZZ, whatever you want your word to be. Then when you go to type that into a group to post all day, because you're not going to be at your computer all day, you're going to have to do this on your phone if you're really being consistent. Then you're able to do that quickly, and you don't have to retype stuff. You don't have to copy and paste and go back and forth between posts. You don't have to do any of that. Second thing is, they go over the traditional ways to get leads. That was to call the leads, buy a dozen donuts, go around, try to convince realtors to essentially be your friend, so they'll send you their mortgage business, and then referrals. Those were the 3 biggest things: cold calling, referrals from realtors, relationships, networking, or referrals from friends and family. And then the next one is, both big and small companies are using the typical Facebook business page with paid advertisements to drive traffic and newsfeed. Okay, so the next one is, they were talking about the 4th method is to run advertisements. Now, advertisements do work, but obviously you're paying for them. This book is about a free method to grow your business, especially when you're first starting and you want to have some sort of process you can follow to get business on not necessarily on autopilot unless you use the tools I'm going to talk about at the end, but at least you have a process, a system to follow, a formula. Then he says what you should do instead is create PBG groups, personal branding groups. Now those are groups that are going to be at the top. You've probably seen this on Facebook. It's a cover of you, maybe has your contact info, and it says, buying and selling real estate in Santa Clara, whatever you want it to be. And they suggest that you start up not super niche groups, and not to join super niche groups either, like automotive, church, whatever. They want you to create like buy, sell, trade, like very general groups. That way you can reach the general population, especially now if you're taking these concepts and applying it to another business, it's going to be a different story. But for real estate, you don't really want a super targeted audience. You kind of just want, everybody, unless you're trying to do luxury listings or something like that. Next one they go over is Facebook jail. Obviously, you post too much, Facebook's going to block you. Now you can go to the help center and you can check and make sure when your block is going to be up. That's essentially the tip that they provide in that, is just go to the help center and see when your Facebook block is going to be up. Next one is figuring out what not to do. Essentially, don't post too much. You need to know how many posts you can send. Essentially, you can post about 20 or 30 times a day, and what they say to do is post around 12, 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. when people are most active, but it's far enough away, and do 10 posts each. So join buy, sell, trade groups, or create your own. Join or create real estate or mortgage related groups, and then post 10 times a day. In your own group, you can post as much as you want, but through the other groups that you're joining, and you could join 10, 20 of those a day, only post 10 times at 3 different periods, so throughout the day you end up at 30 posts. And if you use the ad copy that they suggest, which they only provide you with 1, so you might have to do a little bit of research there, come up with your own, and figure out what works, then you should be getting X number of leads. Now, this is where they're going over the text replacement again. Standard response. I've noticed that They said that Facebook groups are like a snowball effect. So once you start the group and you get to 2,000, getting to 3,000 or 4,000, you're going to have about 20 or 30 people trying to join a day. Once you get to 10,000, you're going to have about 50 to 100 people trying to join a day. And you can add questions in the Facebook group before they join to qualify the lead, just like you would do with a Facebook ad lead form. One question I always get is, will we oversaturate these groups? They say no, Facebook groups and everything are growing so quick that you're never really going to oversaturate these groups. There's always more people posting, stuff like that. Next one is, Facebook algorithm determines which posts show up. So essentially, your post is going to be at the top initially, but it's not chronological. It's based off of comments. So if your post gets all the way down here and all of a sudden somebody scrolls down and comments, you're going to pop back up at the top. So you could post something, and 3 years later, if somebody scrolls down far enough, you could pop up at the back at the top. And if a bunch of new members join the group, or other people that were there before are interested now, they can, essentially regenerate that interest, and all of a sudden now you have another 20 leads again 3 years later. So don't just start locally, but don't just join the local groups, join groups across the state. That's the next point. It's like an investment towards, okay, next one is essentially kind of like email touch campaigns. Send them messages and stuff like that if you have them added in Facebook Messenger through your personal group, on things that they could do to save money on their mortgage or real estate or investments. This is called value in advance. That's a concept that's not put in this book. I heard it from the one gentleman on YouTube, but providing value in advance, not having that scarcity mentality. Tell them what they would essentially want to know if they were to ask you beforehand, and that makes them more likely to work with you. And then this is the post I sent her to use. Okay, so for this could work for real estate agents, but this one's essentially you're posing as a real estate agent, but you're really trying to get mortgage leads. This is the exact ad copy you would use. Hey everyone, I'm a local real estate agent, and I finally found a lender who can go down to a 580 credit score, FHA, and 600 score USDA, who is ready to get pre-approved for a home loan. So that's going to get you a bunch of those mortgage leads by essentially starting a conversation as if you weren't that service provider, which slightly unethical, but whatever. Another concept they say is don't post images, just post text and try to start a discussion. That way you don't send off that trigger and that negative response in people's brain of, this is a salesperson. Now, I was creating Facebook groups and personal branding groups. So again, create the personal branding groups. Don't create pages. Create places where people can discuss and engage and everything. This is where they're going over the text again, where it pops back up at the top. Great communication eliminates most issues. The next thing they say is to use Facebook Messenger groups. So add people to specific groups just like you would in your CRM and message them accordingly. I mean, it's pretty basic. Add all the people that you might want referral traffic from to one Facebook Messenger group, and then say, hey, I helped you, or not everybody to one group, but you could have, for example, if you're going through the process of getting that person a loan, you could add the real estate agent, you, and that person to a group, and then when you add them to a group, you can see when the other person's message was read, so that adds a sense of urgency to get stuff done, because when somebody saw the message, so there's that. Or you could grab everybody and throw them in a group, whatever. Now, next thing is use the Facebook Insights tool to check on yourself or the people underneath you that you may be using this with, and you can see what they're doing wrong by taking a look at the insights, seeing what they're posting, how often they're active, so on and so forth. And then next thing is, for each group messenger picture, change it to something else. They use something where a red house equals anyone that's been pre-screened and is or has filled out an application. Yellow house equals anyone you've talked to who is sending in documents, and you can change all the pictures of those Facebook groups so you essentially keep track very easily of who's where. Let's see what else we got. Because if you only hand them your business card, okay, create a group essentially and tell them, hey, if you have anybody to refer me to, give them my number and send them to my homes for sale group. And then they go over the amount of people that are most likely going to join. When you reach 10,000 members, you're probably going to get 50 to 100. I went over that earlier. Our buzz group, anytime agents pick up buying a different area. Okay, and then referrals. So you could, anytime you pick up a client who's buying in a different area, whether you're a real estate agent or if you're a mortgage servicer and you're not able to go that far for whatever reason, you can simply go inside that group of either the group you're in or another one that might be pertinent, and say, who wants a client looking for a house in so on and so forth, right? San Jose, Fremont, whatever you want to do. And then you can get a referral kickback from that. Another ad copy you could use is for the mortgage people is looking for applicants for our renters to homeowners program. Requirements: 2 years employment, doesn't have to be same job. Like, comment below if you would like information. Stop renting and start owning. Join all the buy, sell, and trade groups. Like I said, start posting in Facebook groups using text replacement. Okay, so this stuff is immediately send a friend request. Okay, yeah, so right after they comment yes or comment I'm in or whatever you put in your ad copy, essentially, go and send those people a friend request. And then from doing all this, you're going to get one of 3 type of people. People that are going to be ready today, people that are going to be ready over time, and people that might need a credit repair. So they want to do it, but you got to help them, get there. So once you get them sold on the loan, you're going to want to create a Facebook Messenger group and one of our okay. And then in the back, this is the part that I liked that they gave me the enough info to go figure it out, but I don't like that they didn't tell you the actual info in the book because they're hiding the details, right? So they said, thank you to this guy for figuring out for introducing us to the tool that picks up Facebook groups abandoned by admins. So I'll just tell you what the tool is. They're just saying thank you to this guy for what the tool is to automate the process for all of this. So they want you guys to go out there and essentially manually do it, or they want you to buy some course or whatever to figure out how to automatically do it. But the tool is either going to be Facebook Toolkit, which you can't really download too easily right now. They removed it off the Google Chrome store, or it's going to be another tool. But essentially, you're going to want to Google what the Facebook Toolkit does. You can find a way to download it, and I can send you guys the copy. Just comment I want it down below in the comments, and I'll find the download link. I have it somewhere on my computer, and I'll put it on a Google Drive file for you guys. But what was I gonna say? They want you to do something extra on top of this, or they just, for whatever reason, didn't put it there. But oh yeah, go to Google. I remember. Go to Google and type in program to claim admin Facebook groups, something like that. Just try to get those keywords in there and just mix it up a little bit and see if you could figure out some other programs and maybe drop them in the comments of stuff that people could download to claim those groups where the admin left. Because now you can go in there, claim the group, now you own that traffic essentially, and you don't have to give it up. I don't know why people would. And then there was one more back here. Oh yeah. Thank you to this guy who came up with a post which reeled in 57 possible home sellers in 7 hours. Okay, what's the post? I just bought the book. Tell me what the post is. Everybody's going to keep the good information for themselves, including their, so the leads came in with numbers, addresses, and home values. I looked up that guy. He only had like 300 Facebook page likes, but I saw, so this is a trick. For competition research, which you want to do, I went to his Facebook page. You click on groups, you can see what groups he owns from his Facebook business page. And then I saw those were the buy, sell, and trade groups. Those were the local buy a home in this area groups. You click on that, you try to join it, pre-fill whatever info they're asking about to qualify buyer or seller leads. Then you go in there and you can figure out what posts they're putting and which ones are getting engagement. And then you could take that, make it applicable to your area, and boom, you got ad copy that's going to get you some leads. So that's about it. If you guys have any other questions or you have any other books that I should check out, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.